Hello everyone, it's James from Keeping It Anime, and today let's talk about Bungo Stray Dogs, Season 3. So, at the current state within this arc, it looks like that the Armed Detective Agency and the Port Mafia are going to face off. And I thought, what matchups would I like to see? So in this video, I'm going to be talking to you guys about what matches I would like to see, not only from that fight, but from this series in general. So moving forward until this season is over. And I'll give you my thoughts and kind of why I want to see them as we go along. So without further ado, let's get started. So in number 5, we have Kyoka versus Jin. Now Kyoka being from the Armed Detective Agency and Jin being from the Port Mafia, and both being assassin based in terms of fighting styles, I can definitely see this being a good matchup. It'll have interesting skills and dynamics. The only difference is though, Kyoka does have Demon Snow as an ability, while Jin unfortunately doesn't have. She doesn't have any ability as to speak of. But you know what? Even without an ability, I still think that these two characters going face to face in this season would be something interesting to see, just simply because of their movesets and styles. I think it'll be awesome. Both have really good character designs, and yeah, they'll play off against each other rather well. Honestly speaking though, if this were to happen, Kyoka would have the advantage over Jin in the long run. Okay, so number 4. Number 4 is a bit hit and miss, because number 4 I would like to happen, but I can't see it happening because of what I said in my last review. And that is Mori and the Armed Detective Agency's leader, I think his name is Yuki Kano? Or Yuki? I can't remember his name. But I'd like to see him go up or at least confrontate with Fedora, the demon. Because he's orchestrated this plan at the moment within the series where he's kind of given him the cannibalism ability to play in order to put up the Port Mafia and the Armed Detective Agency against each other. Now these are the two bosses of both organisations, and I'd love to see a confrontation between, with those two and Fedora, simply because think if both of them survive, they have to address that issue. The only reason why I think this won't happen is because, like I said in my last review, one of them is probably going to have to fall at the end of this sort of mini arc type, so to speak, in season 3. And well, if they were to go up against Fedora in any way, shape or form, whether it would just be talking or fighting, then they're not going to defeat the main bad guy, are they? Let's be honest. That's up to the main cast to really do that. So that's one fight I would like to see. Whether or not it's going to happen, bit shaky on it, but oh well. Then moving on to number 3. Number 3 is another bit of a strange one, but it's two characters that I think would be quite interesting and would work quite well if done correctly. And those are Ranpo, and I would like to see him go up against the guild secretary, Louisa. Both characters are highly intelligent, and both characters aren't fighters. So how would they go up against each other? Well, if you think back to previous seasons of Bungo Stray Dogs, then Ranpo had this kind of challenge that was addressed to him, where it was almost like Cluedo. There was a murder, and he had to figure it out in order to escape this kind of predicament that they were in. I think it was season 2. Might have been 1. But anyway, it has already happened. So I can see it from his perspective where Louisa kind of plans out a strategy to kind of counteract Ranpo's intelligent and detective skills. So this would lead to obviously Ranpo trying to figure it all out and trying to be one step ahead. It'll be a psychological battle more than a physical battle, but I still think it would be something interesting to see and worthwhile to watch. So yeah, One, again, Ranpo doesn't have an ability. Louisa does, but it's a very specific ability that requires her to be on her own. So, technically you could kind of say she doesn't have one. But from a psychological point of view and psychological warfare, we know that this show likes to do stuff like that, and these two characters going up against each other in terms of smarts, brilliance, and strategy, I think it'll be fun. Okay, and at number 2, we have Atashi, our main character, versus Akutagawa. Now, we've had this so many times within the series. Wow, I say so many times, I think it's probably like twice. Maybe 3 times if you count the first encounter. Anyway, I can see this kind of happening with Atashi being the villain as such, because this would be a good twist down the road, and we know that Fedora has the ability to manipulate people's minds and memories. Just like we see in the previous episode, as of recording this episode, I think it's episode 33, and he basically brainwashes a former member of the guild. So what's to say he can't do it to one of our main heroes? And Atashi would be the most suitable candidate, because at the moment, out of all the good characters in the show, he's probably the most unstable in terms of the mental capacity. Because of obviously losing his father figure, who also tortured him, we saw that in the kind of early stages of this season. So who knows, maybe Atashi might become a villain due to mind control or manipulation from one of the other parties, which means Akutagawa would have to bring him back to his senses. That would be a good fight, because all the other fights between these two have always been quite interesting to see, and I just love the dynamic between the two characters. Okay, so here we come to the most wanted fight by myself, and one that I can't wait to see if they ever do decide to do it. And that is Chuya versus Francis. Essentially, the top guy in the Port Mafia versus the leader of the guild. Now, I can see this kind of happening. Reason being is, obviously, we've got 3 different parties in this series going against each other. We've got... No, 4. Yeah, we've got 4 different parties going up against each other in this series. We've got the Armed Detective Agency, the Port Mafia, the Guild, and Fedora, what's it, the House Dead of Rats or something? And basically, we all know that the final fight is going to somehow be Itachi and Akutagawa fighting off against Fedora. So where does that leave the Guild? Where does this leave the rest of Port Mafia and the rest of the Detective Agency? Well, it would be nice to see Chuya kind of fighting Francis, because it'll be 2 main big hitters going off against each other. Gravity versus money spending. I don't know how the outcome of that fight would work though, but I would like to see Chuya being pushed to his limit, and with this character, Francis, I really do think that Francis could give him a run for his money. Pun intended. Now, where can I see this being placed in the series? Towards the end, actually. Like I said, we know that the last final confrontation is going to be between Atashi, Akutagawa, and Fedora, pretty much. So having these 2 square off while we have the main fight will just add to the climactic feel of the end of this series. And yeah, I would like to say Chuya would come out on top. If not, it'll probably be a draw. And just so it doesn't downgrade Francis as a character again, really, because he was a good character and a good villain throughout Season 2. But at the start of this series, from what we've seen so far, it's come back pretty strong, and the 2 are similarly mindseted when it comes to their mental capacity. Both of them are quick-tempered. Both of them are quite cunning and smart. I would say in terms of smarts though, Francis probably has the advantage over Chuya. But in terms of raw power and kind of abilities, remember, we had the Arakabaki thing with Chuya at the beginning. So something must come from that later on at the end of this series. Maybe we'll see Arakabaki Chuya versus full-powered Francis. I have no idea, but that's something I would love to see. So there you have it, guys. My top 5 fights that I wish to see in Bungo Stray Dogs. Now it's up to you guys watching to let me know, what are your favourite fights? Or what do you want to see? Do you think any of these fights would be good? Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. Other than that, guys, I hope you've enjoyed. If you have, smash that like button. Subscribe if you're new so you never miss a video from me. And until next time, I hope you'll have an amazing day. And, well, keep it anime. Goodbye.